Hello everyone. We're going to keep going on the supply and demand in this video. That is, of course, the holy grail of ERP systems. What you want to do is make sure that you're supplying all the sales orders that are coming in. So there's a few ways to do that, and we went through it in a previous video where we actually went into the sales order, went into planning from the sales order, figured out there's missing supply, and we supplied that with a purchase order, etc. But that's really not that useful in a bigger scenario. If you have lots of items, if you got lots of sales orders being generated by salespeople, and then you might have the focus of actually looking at those and in a group and supplying them. So the one-offs are just not going to work. So what we're going to do is show you how to do it in a worksheet. The focal point here is that there is one person who is running the worksheet and taking a look at the entire system at once through the worksheet and looking at what needs to be bought or changed. And the worksheet comes up with all kinds of suggestions. It might say, cancel this order, issue that order, move that order, etc., etc. So it gets a little bit more complicated than just the one-off. So let's move into that and go deeper into supply and demand. Now let's take a look at the system. Before we actually went through supply and demand planning, just right off the sales order to see if you required to buy for the sales order going out. But that is not very good, if you do have to do that every time you're entering in a sales order. So what you want to do is get up a supply and demand scenario where you're using a worksheet. And we're actually going to do that. We're going to go into Requisition Worksheet. But before you start, there's a setup that needs to be done. And I'm going to use the Enacta coffee mug right here. Just click on that. And if I go here into planning, we need to set up the reordering policy to have something. When you start, it comes in with blank when you start to create an item. And we're just going to set it here to order. And in a later video, we're going to explain what these options mean. But for right now, we just want the system to place an order if you go below 0 in the supply and demand planning. Another thing to note is if I actually go into the inventory availability for this item and take a look at the location, I can see that the unspecified location, the blank location, actually has a projected available balance of -20. I'm looking at the entire year here. All other locations seem to be fine. I don't have any issues, but this one here will go down to -20. And we can see that we are buying 30 and there is a sale going out for 50. So this is an imbalance which we need to fix. And let's go ahead and see how that works now in the Requisition Worksheet. If I close out of here and go into Actions, Requisition Worksheet, and here I'm going to go ahead and calculate a plan. So what this does is basically you can set up the parameters of what you want to look at, like which items for what time period, if you use forecast or not, etc. And it will just go over everything in the system and see if you're out of balance and tell you what you need to do to get back into balance. So it's much better than doing by individual sales order or individual item. You basically just browse or go through the entire roster of items. In this case, however, I am only going to look at the coffee mug. So you see I've filtered the coffee mug out right here. So that's a filter. And I'm looking at this period here, which is from 4/9 to 9/6. And I'm not bothering with the forecast. I'm only doing this to kind of limit the amount of data that comes in here for demonstration purposes. Now hit OK. And the system runs through super quickly what I need to do. So basically what it's saying is here, cancel. I want you to cancel the purchase order you have out there for 30. And I can actually just click here on order tracking and show this purchase order. I can see that this is the purchase order for 30 that I made to Fabricant. Okay. And what the system wants me to do is cancel that one and then issue a new one for 50. And I can select the vendor. I can even switch the vendor if I want to. So if I say, yeah, okay, this is all good, I'm just gonna pick the same vendor here for that. And everything is great. As long as this carry or accept action message is checked off, it will do these actions for you. So all I have to do is say carry out action message up here. I could print them out if I wanted to. Just hit OK. And the system now has changed it around. So if I go back, go into the coffee mug, and take a look at my availability by location, I can now see for the year that everything is in balance here for the unspecified location. If I click on here, I can see I have a purchase line for 50 and sales line for 50. So everything is good. And that was using a Requisition Worksheet, which is a much better way to do it rather than straight off the sales order. And we'll probably get more into how we can do various other things with the Requisition Worksheet.